Welcome to The Frontrunner Show with Carol Nichols.
Hello, I'm Carol Nichols, the host of The Frontrunner Show, and today we have Youyi Kitson, co-founder and chief operating officer of HaxIoT, a local DFW Internet of Things company. It's an industrial Internet of Things company that Youyi co-founded, and she has decades of experience as a business analyst. So wonderful to have you here with us, Youyi.
It's great to be here.
And so I wanted to ask you, what is the critical problem that HaxIoT is solving?
So Hexia helps enterprise and industrial companies to instrument real-time data from their distributed assets. So you may have come across use cases in the consumer world where you can plug in, say, a smart socket into your home, and you can monitor and control small appliances through your mobile phone, no matter where you are in the world. So the same scenario applies in the industrial world, where companies often have manual processes to send workforce to check on equipment status because they don't know when things are going to break, or if they have a large campus, they often don't know where their assets are. So we at Hexia help companies solve problems like that.
Fabulous. Well, it sounds like a wonderful solution to many complex problems. What makes HaxIoT's technology unique?
So as you can imagine, to deploy technology like this, it's very complex. There are hardware, wireless technologies, cloud technologies, and most of all, people care about security. So all these elements goes into building a solution like this. So that's often become a big roadblock for companies to adopt technologies like this, to innovate. And that's why the status quo is a lot of technologies are very expensive, and because it's cumbersome, it's expensive, it requires a lot of cabling, so only Fortune 500 companies can adopt, and many others will just have to maintain with their existing processes. So at Hexia, we brought a lot of cutting-edge innovation, such as data compression and edge compute to our solutions, where we can shrink very heavyweight SCADA type of equipment that's frequently used in industrial space down to a size of a small device like this. Okay. That transmit data wirelessly, and it reports in real time to the cloud what is the equipment doing and how is it performing, is there any issues that needs to be alerted to the person who's responsible. So, and I think in 2019, we also invested heavily into workforce automation. So it doesn't require very highly trained technicians, and to spend months to deploy technologies like this, where you can literally use your mobile phone, install it, and scan and go, and our technology will help you provision the device onto the network and doing the testing all in one go.
I love that. It's to scale and go. So, Youyi, it sounds like it's a much more efficient way to use your labor with this device. It allows you to keep track of your remote access or your remote assets in a very efficient manner.
Yes, that's what Hexia is all about, that we want to simplify the digital transformation for companies where there will be more people adopt, and also to democratize the technology to the point there more companies, not just Fortune 500 companies, can enjoy the benefits of deploying solutions like this, because it doesn't cost millions of dollars to have it.
Yes, and that phrase, democratize assets, what does that mean to you?
I think the phrase that we often use in the industry is digitizing the assets. Well, in my opinion, digitizing assets is about installing electronics on your assets, whether that's equipment for manufacturing, or if you're using a storage to sort of optimize your supply chain, you want to know how much you have. So it's to install the electronics so that it can turn meaningful data from your equipment to a centralized system where you can apply business intelligence to that. asset. So I think in the industry there are analysts talking about digital twins, which is literally the same concept, that to create a digital map of what's in the real world that your company owns and how it's operated and how it's replicating it at the same time in real time, so that the business decision can be applied when it matters.
Fabulous. Yes, I can see that. You've got lots of assets spread out over a large area, and through this technology, if you can gather that information to a central point, then you can analyze it. That's your business analyst coming into play. Information has to be gathered and centralized in order for you to manage it and use it.
Yeah, and learn what else we can do with it.
Yes, yes. And so how has HaxIoT changed the way your customers do business?
So this is a really great question, because there are many aspects of how we can change our customers. So it ranges from, for example, it improves the security to optimizing logistics, because now you have real-time data to the supply chain, so you don't have to send regular trucks on just transporting something without knowing exactly how much and how often. But I think for me, one of the biggest impact is that we were able to provide new business model, even create new business model for our clients. I'll give you an example here. One of our industrial clients, they manufacture heavyweight equipment for retail distribution centers. So their old business model is it's a one-time sale. They sell something and it's done. And they were looking for ways to create new revenue streams. So by connecting one of these devices into their equipment,
right,
they were able to now create a new business model where their customers are willing to subscribe to a regular maintenance service, because they will see in real time if a equipment requires a visit to be fixed before it breaks, which impacts operations, and they have downtime, and where things cannot operate. So this is very important to their customer, to make sure the operations run smoothly, that they're willing to now pay for subscription service to have them provide maintenance service. So, yes. And I was told that the projection that this company had with this new product, now they're able to make 4 times of the revenue of their annual originally forecasted, 4 times of that within 12 months, 4 times growth.
Fabulous.
So that is very
quite an
impressive.
Acceleration of their revenue base.
Yes.
And that's also about efficient use of labor. And real-time information allows them to use their assets more efficiently.
Yes.
And to grow their revenue by 4 times in 1 year.
1 year.
I bet they love HaxIoT.
Yes, they do. We have happy customers, many of them.
Wonderful. So what inspired you to create HaxIoT?
So I think as an entrepreneur at heart, I've always loved solving problems, and kind of you get into the mindset of figuring out what the problems and how you can solve it. And I think in 2015, we came across this new wireless technology called LPWA, and it stands for Low Power Wide Area Wireless. Okay. And we see that it kind of bridges a gap that's in the market right now, where in consumer it's mostly dominated by Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. And if you have something you want to instrument in a building, there are a lot of technologies out there. But we had a lot of clients coming to us and say, hey, I have large campuses, so I can't use Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and cellular is too expensive for me because I can't put it on everything. And what are solutions are out there that we can use? And we start to see that the usage of this technology, when it applies, where it makes sense. And that's what drove us to get in deep into solving these problems. And we happen to have an A team at Hexia that we have some of the best industry experts on our team. For example, my co-founder, Nick Kitson, he has had decades of experience in deploying large-scale networks for telcos around the world. And our CTO, Matt Cohn, who is an industry veteran who has built several advanced IoT platforms, and now is a PhD candidate that studies IoT security, which is becoming more of a discussed point amongst technologists. So we definitely bring some of the best industry experiences into building our products.
That's an impressive and deep team that you have at HaxIoT. Building a phenomenal company. What does it mean to digitize assets, and what are the advantages to digitizing assets? Why would a company do that?
There are different kind of purposes. Each company is a little bit different, but by digitizing asset, depending on what exactly this company does, which brings another point, is there's no solution, one solution that fits all, because everybody has a different problem they're trying to solve. So by obtaining that data, I think first of all, the company can know how they want to improve an operation or solve a problem they currently have, and to gather the base as the foundation for the data scientists to study what else can we do with this data? What are the new things which inspires us to think about, for example, if you know in real time how much commodities are across the country in the silo that's being, where the commodity is stored, how does it affect commodity trading? So there are interesting topics that, because now you have the data, you have digitized your assets, it becomes available for a lot of us to think and ponder, what else can we do?
So it's making the data more accessible so that you can actually analyze it.
Yes, because none of that was possible before, but now it is.
Thanks to HaxIoT. Very good. So describe a business problem, Youyi, that your company solves. What's the problem?
So, for example, we have a client who provides maintenance service to monitor the quality of a network that provides services to the utilities across a city. And typically they have to roll the trucks twice a week. And because they don't know when something is going to break, and they just have to send regular maintenance crew, and it costs millions of dollars to maintain the crew to do something like that. And by instrumenting the status of the network, that they were able to dramatically reduce the amount of visit that they pay to the sites, and really optimize the operation and become more proactive in fixing the problem. If some kind of equipment is showing wear and tear, they can address it quickly, so it eliminates the downtime. So that's one of the examples how we were able to transform a business's operations. And we have another, I have another example here locally in DFW area, north of DFW area. A city wants to monitor the water pressure on their water tower to make sure if there is a fire that they can turn on the pump immediately to increase the pressure in the water tower. So when you plug in a fire hydrant, there's going to be water coming out.
Okay.
It's going to be very bad if there's no water coming out and the building burns down. So things like that are critical, and it involves safety and of the public, right? So.
Yeah. So I'm seeing it's the real-time information on these assets. So if you can sense a vibration out in the field that might tell you that the machine needs maintenance or is about to fail, your comment that that's going to reduce downtime, and it's also going to probably reduce expense because you can catch a breakage early or catch something before a catastrophic event occurs.
Yes.
So that ability to know real time, what are my assets doing? Are they healthy? Or is the water pressure full? Is the rail in place for my train? Is the switch open? All those things are important to know real time to avoid disasters and avoid downtime.
Exactly. I think time and the value of the data decays exponentially. So a data that you have right, like within 5 seconds could mean a lot versus data that you get from a maintenance, regular maintenance, like 2 weeks later because something could have already happened. So the real-time insights is critical to businesses in this day and age.
Yes, and with the 5G rollout that we've been talking about, and we talked about in one of the front runner episodes, with 5G, that's only going to make HaxIoT information probably more powerful and even faster.
Yes, I think new technologies always come and we'll figure out ways to make improvements and new ways of using it.
Wonderful, wonderful. What are some examples of the old way of gathering or using information and the new way that HaxIoT brings?
So the old ways, obviously, there are a lot of manual processes, and sometimes it'll have causes the reliability of the data, and it might be human error. So the new way is measuring it in real time and also measuring it whatever the rules that we apply to it. So because it's all connected to the assets directly, and you're able to kind of even reorientate your workforce to do other important tasks in your organization. I think a lot of the new ways are enabling companies to think about, okay, once I have this new process and all this data and information, and what can we do to improve in other areas, and perhaps sometimes when all the data is in the same central system, you can even connect it with other pieces of information coming from different parts of the business, like say from financials, combining with the location of assets. Are there better ways of more? Can you track how you're doing the depreciation more effectively or more correctly, because you know exactly how long your assets has been in a different location. So interesting things for us to study now that we're able to have the new way of collecting data in real time.
Yes, and this new way sounds like it's using automation. So tell me a little more about how you set up rules that automates the workflow.
So with the innovation that we build at Hexia, we have something called edge compute, and what that means is you're able to instrument real-time process and control. So without having humans to be involved in the process, if you apply for a rule to, for example, you say if the water pressure drops below this level, the pump needs to turn on immediately.
Okay.
So this becomes an automated process where you don't have to get readings and then report to somebody and then go turn on, because that could be minutes of hours lost in the process.
Yes.
So
plus you're having to pay someone to stand there or sit at their desk and monitor the equipment, whereas with the HaxIoT solution, the technology is doing the monitoring and then providing the alert.
Yes, it's all automated.
An automated solution.
Yes.
That's great innovation. So, Youyi, what type of business should seek out a HaxIoT solution? I
think typically there are two things that kind of makes the perfect profile is asset-rich enterprise or industrial companies. For example, companies in the utility space, oil and gas, or if they own lots of assets across the country, across the state, and they have large campuses, and so that makes a perfect client for Hexia, but also they're ready for digital transformation. Obviously, if you're really happy with manual processes and not looking for innovation, then it's a different story. So, so they're ready for digital transformation. They're looking for a technology provider to help them solve their problems, and that will be a really good fit for Hexia.
Good, good. An asset-rich company with assets spread across a broad geography could really benefit from your solution.
Yeah, and they have identified a problem, and they say, okay, we're ready for digital transformation.
A digital transformation.
Yeah, and I would like to mention something that I heard recently, that a lot of medium-sized companies, they don't think they can afford digital transformation because it's only Fortune 500 companies that have millions of dollars to spend. The good thing is these days, a lot of technology providers like HaxIoT, we have these type of model where you can adopt a solution at a very affordable price. Sometimes it's even less than having a full-time staff because we have the model like SaaS, which stands for software as service. So it's one way of financing the solution, because you don't have to spend a couple of $1 million trying to hire people and build from scratch, because technology allows us to do become very flexible with how we monetize things.
Very good, very good. So what does the future look like for HaxIoT in the year 2020 and beyond?
2020 is very exciting for us because 2019 we onboarded several large industrial companies that adopted our technology and had very successful results. And 2020 they're looking to scale globally, so we're committed to helping them to really kind of benefit from the solution in 2020 by scaling all over the world. And also we're looking to sort of copy and paste our success to reach out to more of these type of industrial companies who are looking to benefit from this process.
Well, HaxIoT has a bright future, and I also know that you're a Golden Seeds portfolio company, and I'm a member of Golden Seeds, an investor in HaxIoT, so I want to see HaxIoT succeed. What are you most excited about for 2020?
We're very excited about getting this type of information out there and get people to let people realize that what's capable, what's nowadays, what's available on the market, and what they're able to benefit from these use cases. And we're very committed to help our clients to have successful outcomes, one network at a time.
Wonderful. Youyi, thanks for joining me here on the Front Runner Show. This has been Youyi Kitson with HaxIoT, transforming the digital assets of companies here in the Metroplex and beyond. Thank you for joining us on this Front Runner Show, and we will see you again next time. I'm Carol Nichols with the Front Runner.